World War II was the biggest, deadliest, weirdest war in human history. 70 to 85 million people died. That is 3% of the world's population at the time. But the numbers only tell half the story. The real insanity is in the details. The stuff they never taught you in school. Let's start with the beginning. World War II actually started in Asia, not Europe. Most textbooks say September 1st, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland. But Japan invaded Manchuria in 1931 and started a full war with China in 1937. By the time Germany marched into Poland, millions of people in Asia were already dead. So the war was really 8 years long, not 6, and it was fought everywhere, not just Europe and the Pacific. There were battles in Alaska when Japan invaded the Aleutian Islands. There was fighting in the deserts of North Africa, the jungles of Burma, the islands of the Arctic, and even a naval battle near Antarctica. German U-boats sank ships off the coast of Florida. Japanese submarines shelled California and Oregon. A German weather crew even set up a base in Canada and was never found until 1977. The war was so big that 80% of Soviet males born in 1923 did not survive it. Think about that. If you were a teenage boy in Russia in 1941, you had a 4 in 5 chance of dying before it was over. Now for the weapons. The Germans built a gun so big it needed a crew of 2,000 men. It was called the Schwerer Gustav. It fired shells that weighed 7 tons each and could hit a target 29 miles away. It took 4 days to assemble. It only fired 48 shells in combat before they gave up on it. Too big, too slow, too useless. The Japanese built submarine aircraft carriers, real submarines that could surface, launch 3 bombers, then dive again. They planned to use them to attack the Panama Canal and New York City. The war ended before they got the chance. The Americans made a bomb so powerful it lit the sky brighter than the sun. When they tested the first atomic bomb in New Mexico, the flash was seen 200 miles away. A blind girl said she saw it. The heat at the center was 4 times hotter than the center of the sun. After Hiroshima, survivors said the shadows of people were burned into stone. The bomb vaporized them so fast, only their shadow remained. But nukes were not the only weird weapon. The United States had a plan called Project Pigeon. They trained pigeons to guide missiles by pecking at a screen. It actually worked in tests. The British strapped explosives to rats and tried to sneak them into German factories. The Soviets trained dogs to run under tanks with bombs strapped to their backs. It backfired because the dogs were trained on Soviet tanks, so they ran under their own tanks instead. Speaking of animals, a bear served in the Polish army. His name was Wojtek. He was a Syrian brown bear. Soldiers found him as a cub in Iran and raised him. He was officially drafted as a private, had his own rank and paybook, and carried artillery shells during the Battle of Monte Cassino. He drank beer, smoked cigarettes, and wrestled with the men. After the war, he lived in a zoo in Scotland. But the war was not just weird, it was horrifying. The Holocaust killed 6 million Jews, plus millions of others, in an industrial system of murder. The Nazis kept records of everything. They used IBM punch card machines to track prisoners. At Auschwitz, the camp ran like a factory, killing up to 12,000 people per day at its peak. The commandant's house was right next door. His wife complained about the smell. The Japanese did their own horrors. Unit 731 was a secret program that did human experiments. They froze people alive, operated without anesthesia, tested plague bombs on cities, and infected prisoners with diseases just to see what would happen. The United States gave the scientists immunity after the war in exchange for their data. Stalin was just as brutal. When Germany invaded in 1941, he ordered a scorched earth policy. His own army burned villages, destroyed crops, and killed livestock so the Germans could not use them. Millions of his own citizens starved. He also banned retreat. Soviet soldiers who ran from battle were shot by their own officers. Penal battalions were sent to clear minefields by walking through them. And yet, Some stories are pure heroism. In 1942, a group of Polish prisoners escaped from a Soviet gulag in Siberia. They walked 4,000 miles south through the Gobi Desert, over the Himalayas, into India. Only 4 survived. One of them, Slavomir Rawicz, wrote a book about it called The Long Walk. There was a man named Juan Pujol Garcia who was a double agent. He worked for the British but pretended to work for the Germans. He fed Germany fake information for years. For D-Day, he convinced Hitler the main attack was coming at Calais, not Normandy. Hitler believed him so much that he kept his best tanks away from the real beaches for weeks. Garcia got an Iron Cross from Germany and an MBE from Britain for lying to both sides. The war had teenagers too. The youngest United States serviceman was Calvin Graham. He enlisted in the Navy at 12 years old after lying about his age. He fought at Guadalcanal and was wounded. When the Navy found out how old he was, they threw him in a brig for 3 months. Then they took away his medals. He finally got them back when he was in his 50s, and women were everywhere. Soviet women flew combat missions at night in old wooden planes. The Germans called them the night witches because they would cut their engines and glide silently before dropping bombs. The Germans were terrified of them. Lyudmila Pavlichenko was a Soviet sniper with 309 confirmed kills. She toured the United States and told reporters, "Gentlemen, I am 25 years old and I have killed 309 fascists. Do you not think you have been hiding behind my back for too long? The war changed everything." The first computer was built to crack the German Enigma code. It was called Colossus, and it was kept secret for decades. The first jet fighters flew in combat. The Germans had the Messerschmitt Me-262. It was 400 miles per hour faster than anything the Allies had. But Hitler wasted them by using them as bombers instead of fighters. The first ballistic missile was the German V-2. It was a rocket that flew into space before crashing back down on London. After the war, the scientists who built it were taken to America and Russia. They built the space programs. The man who ran the V-2 program was Wernher von Braun. He later designed the Saturn V rocket that took Americans to the moon. Even food changed. M&Ms were made so soldiers could eat chocolate without it melting. Spam fed millions of troops. Instant coffee became popular because it was in every ration kit. And the microwave oven was invented by accident when a scientist noticed a radar beam melted a candy bar in his pocket. The cost was unreal. The war cost over $4 trillion in 1945 money. That is more than $21 trillion today. The United States built 96,000 planes in 1944, built more ships than the rest of the world combined. At the peak, they launched a new aircraft carrier every month. But the human cost was worse. China lost up to 20 million people. The Soviet Union lost 27 million. Poland lost 17% of its entire population. 80% of the city of Warsaw was destroyed. In Belarus, 1 out of every 4 people died. And when it ended, it did not really end. The last Japanese soldier surrendered in 1974. His name was Hiroo Onoda. He had been hiding in the jungle in the Philippines for 29 years because he did not believe the war was over. He only surrendered when his old commander flew out and ordered him to. World War II was 6 years of chaos, invention, horror, and heroism. It gave us jet engines, computers, rockets, and nuclear power. It also gave us genocide, firebombing, and cities turned to ash. It started with horses and ended with atomic bombs. It was the last total war. And if we are lucky, it will stay that way, because the world cannot survive another one.